On this episode of Fish's Call Sheet, a really talented and multi-hyphenated coworker of mine who has really grown on me over the last couple of years. So I'm proud to welcome Vito Giambalvo.
Hey, Maron, Michael, buongiorno.
Ah,
Buongiorno, mio amico.
buongiorno.
Yeah, good to see you. Excited to be here.
It's good to see you too.
Your show's going well. This is good.
I was thinking about all of the people who do all the jobs that rarely get enough credit.
I think it's great, first of all, that you're doing this because there are those people that feel like they're invisible. And that does happen. It's neat when you can get into finding out how things work and how it becomes a team thing. You know what I mean? Because it is a team thing. It is.
It truly is. And I think that's part of it for me. I worked a lot of crew stuff. I have been in almost every department in some form or fashion, with the exception of hair and makeup and wardrobe, which I would butcher horribly. So I've done a little bit of everything, but I was always a team guy. I grew up loving the crew and loving all the things we did. And then on top of that, I was a baseball player and an athlete and a coach. So I do feel that sometimes people feel like they're invisible. They're really not. They're not, especially to all of us who work together, but it can feel that way. It's a beautiful thing to get to come to work with you every day. The energy that people see right now is the energy you have all the time. That's one of those gifts that brings life to a set.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. You know what? I try not to bring my life problems to work. You know what I mean? We all have them, of course, but, I try to be a happy person, even in life problems, I really do. And I try to just take it easy. I meditate, and I pray. And that's how I start out my day every day. And I try to bring that with me. It seems to work for me. I'm generally pretty happy. Yeah, thanks, man.
You're one of those highlights of my day. And so all these weeks that you get to work on the Connors, you work as a camera operator.
Right.
And I have a ton of questions there.
Okay.
But let me digress a little, because you're so complex. I think you're a perfect example of this business is full of really talented people.
Go ahead. You said complex, and right away I thought, well, that's what my wife tells me all the time. Go ahead. Anyway, Go ahead. Sorry.
Be careful. We get accused of that, right? I know you so much from a week to week being a camera operator and being really that steady force in the middle of our camera crew. But you also have a tremendous resume. You've been a director.
Yeah.
You've been an associate director. Right. And so in that capacity, you're kind of really leading the shots, which makes a lot more sense as we talk about camera operating, because I really want to get into with you, because you have such a depth of knowledge, the camera work, some of the difference in the cameras, right, but also how well you frame or plan shots sometimes. Because I see you suggest,
right,
and that's a fine line, because, you with directors coming in and out, you never want to overstep.
That's right. Yeah. You're really kind of always on the fence. There's a certain verbiage that I try to stay with that doesn't sound commanding or demanding. It's, can I suggest? It's the word suggest, maybe. That's the place to start, If I know the director really well, you know what I mean? And I know a lot of these people a long time anyway. I'll say, you're not going to like that. You know what I mean? But other people, if I don't know someone so well, I just take it easy and say suggest.
As a camera operator, when people hear that term, what do people think you do?
I think that today, being a camera operator, everybody seems to be a camera operator. You know what I mean? You got your iPhones, you got this and that, and everybody is a shooter. They call them shooters.
Point and shoot, right?
Point and shoot, yeah, right. Well, there's a little more involved. There's a little more involved, and you know what? It all doesn't come at one time. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I was just going to say, what do you really do? Because that's always what I ask people.
Camera operator is the title. In terms of what I really do is you guys get to do it kind of through the week and get a little more rehearsal time of what you're going to do and where you're going to go. This, when we come to the set, the first day, it's a first look for us. So we got, I like to stand where my camera might be to get a feel of what it's like from that angle. You know what I mean? And to what's going on in front of the lens. A lot of times, people will be doing this in the lens. The actors will be doing this in the lens. Well, you don't do this with them. You just sit steady, let them rock in the frame. And therefore, what that does is it translates to the viewer that it's not making them sick.
This works. This not so much, right? And I think
that's exactly it.
Subtle movement.
Subtle movement, right?
One of the shots that you've done a lot on our show is you get a lot of the pans or the moves or the bring-ins, right?
Carries, yeah.
Yeah, carries. And so audience members probably have seen a million times.
Right.
But maybe really never had their attention drawn to. It's the example of, the camera starts here, and as you kind of slowly push in to the close-up.
In my terms, I like to call it, this particular camera that I'm doing on the counters is, it's a dolly camera. So there's not just me, there's two other guys that are with me in my team, Steve, who's on the lens, and then Pat, who's behind me, and he's the dolly grip. Dolly grip moves me everywhere I need to go, up, down, in, out, right, left. Steve takes care of not only the focus, but the zooming. I don't have my hands on that. I have my hands on the wheels, and my job at that point is to keep everybody in the frame, headroom, how wide, not too high, not too low, straight on, smooth. And with a dolly camera like that, you're kind of like the color camera, because you're doing all the carries and the sweeps and the whole thing. And it's actually it's my very favorite camera, to be honest with you, because it's very melodic to me. You know what I mean? And I just really get into it. And a lot of times I'll start with a shot. I'll start at the end of the shot and say, okay, we see how it's going to go, blah, blah, blah. Okay, guys, here's what I like to do. Let's go over here, just take a look at this at first and see how this is going to end up. You know what I mean? So over here, I'll go over and end up the shot first, and then back it up to the beginning. So I know that at the beginning, here's where we are. We got a middle point, and then we already know where we're going to end. It doesn't have to be arduous, and it doesn't have to be hard. It could be fun, and that's what I tell my guys before we do every show, especially in front of the audience. So I say, okay, guys, let's have fun, and that's exactly how we approach it all. And it's kind of fun, and we don't waste time on the shot either. I like to get it done, know where we're going to go, and move on.
So a dolly basically looks like almost a push cart, for lack of a better term, I would say. Tell me if you disagree, if I give a bad analogy or you have a better one.
No, I've heard some dolly grips call it a shopping cart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some dolly grips here, they don't like it.
Yeah. So it has four wheels, and the gentleman, in your case, Pat, is in the back and shifts back and forth, side to side. He moves you forward and back, but also what a lot of people don't realize is he controls up and down.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a big thing.
That's tough.
And being smooth.
Oh,
right.
Pat's terrific.
And it's a fine art.
So a lot of times if I'm up, you guys are standing up, let's say, and you're going to sit on the couch.
Right.
So, I could easily, from an up position, just tilt down, okay? And when you guys sit down on the couch. I don't like that. I never have. I like to, if you're going to sit down, I want to come down. Right. I want to be eye level with you guys. And not to shoot up, but at, eye level. So coming from this up position to the down position, this has happened in the past with other people. Boom. You know what I mean? No, that doesn't work.
If you bottom out, it's like bottoming out in your car, right? It's right?
It looks terrible.
And the whole thing is no good. So someone like Pat, who is really, he's smooth and quick. I think a lot of people will be surprised that there's three of you working dolly cams, right? And that's pretty standard. Most film is like that. And a lot of the powerful shots that people see, that's three really talented artisans working in tandem as one almost.
As one. Well, the whole production's teamwork. I don't care how you look at it. Right. In this case, us three have to look like one.
Right.
it can't be separate. It has to be. We have to be in constant communication. Pat will tell me, so when should I slide a little right or slide a little left here? And I'll go, watch my head.
Yeah.
I don't have to say it. And I'll go,
yeah.
Just a little bit. You know what to do. And most of the time he knows what to do anyway. He's terrific. You know what I mean? He's on top of it. He's very knowledgeable, been doing this many years. And I really don't have to say anything. Every once in a while, he'll ask me a question or two. Do you think we need to go over there? Do you think we need to go over there to get that? Because I know he's looking that way. But I said, no, that's what a camera's for.
So on the Connors, we use 4 cameras most weeks.
Right.
We have A, B, C, and X.
Right.
Maybe you can get into why they're labeled that.
Ooh. Well, you know what? Here's the story that I know. Okay. I go back in this town to a show called One Day at a Time, the Jeffersons, things like that. All the Norman Lear stuff. I did all of it. And at that time when they had the setup, it was 4 cameras and it was 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. That's how TV does it. Yeah. With in videotaping and blah, blah, blah. Film did it the other way. It's A, B, C, X. And a lot of people do ask, well, I don't get it. You got A, B, C, X. How's that get in there? Well, the story that I know is that Lucille Ball, I Love Lucy. I believe there was one time where they needed an extra camera, so their cameras don't. She's the one who actually started this whole sitcom thing out, you know what I mean? And with 3 cameras as opposed to 1 camera and doing positioning like you do in episodic. And today, by the way, in episodic, they usually have 2 cameras now, or more. But
yeah, and single camera, they used to do primarily 1, and now a lot of single camera shows have as many as 3. I know
that's right, exactly.
Shadow directors, and I'm working on the directing side of things. Sometimes there's 3, sometimes there's even 4 now.
Exactly.
They're going A through X. And when we did the Roseanne show originally, we were 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And I got to tell you something. While I'm stopped at that point, in the episodic, why they usually only had 1 camera is because that's what they went with, okay? And then they started adding cameras. Why? To save time, to save setups. You got the domino effect there is your director of photography. Well, you better know what you're doing as a director of photography in episodic when you got more than 1 camera, episodic. So that means that you get yourself into a position, well, I can't light that. I got to light that for here. I got to light that for here. Then you got a guy like Don Morgan, who's on our show, Mr. Emmy, he can do it all. He does it all. He knows what to do. He can light with anything. He does it and make it look great from this angle, from that angle. Getting back to the ABC X. So what I understand is they on Lucy they needed an extra camera that day, so they brought it in. So that became their 4th camera. So what do we call it? D? No, wait a minute. It's an extra camera. Well, wait a minute. Extra camera. X.
Perfect.
That's what I know.
Truly, Vito, you've worked and been front and center and on stage for groundbreaking television for, I don't know, 40 years? How long?
Oh, God. Let me see. Hair's gray. I could say it. Actually, I've been in this business for 51 years. And I started in 67 in St. Louis at a CBS O&O station doing the news, where I got my hands on a camera back there. I started as a stage manager there, actually, out of high school. Senior in high school, I got a gig over there, and I stayed. But I learned camera work by touching the cameras when I wasn't supposed to. But I did, you know what I mean?
Me too. That was me as a kid. On the set of Roseanne, I was always playing with the cameras. And in those days, because it was tape, we had PEDs, which is a different type of camera.
That's a different camera, right?
Yeah, it's a single, basically tripod-based camera that has 3 wheels, and you move yourself and you zoom and focus all at the same time. So you basically have to do everything all at once and camera operate.
That's
and it's a skill. Again,
that's a tough gig.
Yeah, and at times, especially if they make you move a bunch, it's a real kind of chaotic. But it was a great thing to learn on. It was a great thing to play on because you can do everything.
A single camera, you do it all. You're like a one-man band type thing. You do everything. And it's something that you really have to know. It's an educational journey. Let me tell you right now. So I do both. I do dolly and pedestal, and I also was doing handheld for many years. A lot of music video, lots and lots of music video, and a lot of magazine shows and things like that. And I had a great time. But you know what? I was blessed to have started out on a pedestal camera. If I start driving, give me the hardest thing to do first. So what is it? Stick shift. And I learned on the stick shift, which is the pedestal. And I transitioned to not an automatic, but the dolly. Because, basically what I do on the dolly is I frame, I make sure it's the flow, everything. And the other guys, like Steve, is focused and he zooms for me. And he's excellent, by the way. He's so gentle. He knows, he has the feel. He knows when I like to stop. Like if you guys are walking across the floor and you come and you stop, Steve has to stop with you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Don't stop and me keep going. You know what I mean? That don't work.
Well, so and can I jump in for 1 second?
Yeah.
Like, Steve is a real artisan in that way.
Oh yeah.
He also does a great job of anticipating when someone just slightly misses their mark or is a little close or a little far. And that's such a fine that you have to know. I always equate it to, because it's on the side of the camera usually, and most people are doing the side or they have an extender in there. And it always reminds me of in movies, when the guy's trying to listen to the safe and get the combination just right. It feels like that.
No, it is like that. Yeah.
And to get the right combination at the right moment, the fact is you don't notice great camera work as much, which is the great compliment to it is, right? If you really look at and you step back, or if you go back and you watch a television show or a movie now after listening to this conversation, look at the sweeps, look at the subtle movements, look how smooth the transition is. On the Connors, a lot of those movements are you or JD, and who's another camera operator. And the moments that people really should look for is a lot of those intimate moments, the heavy conversation, the 2-shot, the 3-shot, the transition in where you come in to sit down. Those are the moments where you really see the shine of 3 people working in tandem as one. That's
right. What you mentioned the other cameras. John Deschain's there, and he's a color camera too, but he's on a pedestal. They got him on a pedestal. John also knows dolly and he knows pedestal. And the gratitude list, because I have one, I have a big one, is that it allows me to have a job today and to take care of my family. You know what I mean? Now Randy is over on A camera, and then Big John Boyd, the big guy, he's over on X. And those guys on the 2 wings, we call them wings. So you got a wing, John, me, and then Randy over on the outside. Those guys take care of your close-ups, your tight shots, your tight cross 2s, your loose cross 2s, lots of carries too. Mainly on a carry, you like to try to keep it a little bit in the waist area. And when you're carrying up in here, that's tough. Because
it's tough, and people will move in and out real fast. And if they move out, your coverage doesn't work. And I think, if we talk about placements, right? So if you have A, B, C, X, A and X tend to move up a set or come in.
Exactly.
So being on PEDs makes a lot of sense because it gives them a quickness of mobility and a smaller wheelbase.
Right. That's true.
But I really love having dollies in the middle. And there's a lot of ways that a lot of productions could be dollies all the way across.
We're very fortunate on the counters. All the operators, lots of experience, and so we know what to do. So we can handle either or. It's got to look great all the way around, no matter what you got to work with, and we can make that happen. You know what I mean? So it's great, and it takes experience and time and all of that stuff, and thank God we have that. I got to tell you something here, like for A and X on the tight stuff. Way back on One Day at a Time with from Pat Harrington, he played Schneider on One Day at a Time. He was the super, very close friend of mine, by the way, who has passed recently. But he says, Vito, he says, the shot has to complement the joke. There it is. That's all you needed to say to me, and I totally understood that. Yeah. And that meant that, however, if in other words, if I'm really loose on a shot and it doesn't have, and the joke doesn't have to do with your feet, you know what I mean? And the joke's up in here. Well, you be in here. Here's the joke right here. The shot complements the joke, or vice versa.
The shot should always kind of complement whatever the scene, the action, the moment is, right?
Exactly.
Because you direct, you also camera operate. Take us through kind of a rough version of the general shots, because I haven't covered that yet. And it's something I think is really fascinating.
Let's, from camera to camera, let's say, and we'll take them in zones.
A little bit of zones, and then if we can go like maybe insert to family.
Okay, sure. So let's start with my camera. My camera mainly has a group shot, a wide shot. They call it a master, and that's when all you guys are flailing around and doing your thing up there, moving from side to side or whatever. And in other words, it's geography. In other words, let's show the audience where we are. Let's give them a basis of what's going on in what room. We'll come to an apartment in the show or someplace in the show that we've never, ever been. So what do you want to start with? A tight shot of what? No. Let's start with the master. Let's tell the audience and show them where we are. Let's show them the layout so they understand that when we get into the tighter stuff, they'll get it. You know what I mean? They'll get it without questioning. In other words, you're subliminally, you're putting it in the back of their mind. So, the audience is not stupid. That's for sure. You know what I mean?
No, audiences are so smart. And it's like when you walk into a place the first time. The first thing you do, you walk into somebody's house, you walk into a restaurant, you look around, you get an idea, you get a feel for where you're at. So we try to do the same thing from a production standpoint, because otherwise people start to question, or it's not your norm. If we walked right in and it was close up on a person's face who's telling you what it is, and there's something blue in the background, you'd be like, what's that blue thing, right?
What is that back there?
If you've seen the room, and
that's
it's not distracting anymore.
Right. The picture's painted. That's the picture. We paint the picture.
So the master kind of does that. And I love masters. We used to use masters a lot more. Okay. And I love masters for big physical activity is what a lot of people use them for. But I love family reaction.
Right.
When somebody comes in and says something crazy or that you didn't expect, I love to see the whole room react.
Let's see the group. Let's see the family. Right. Let's see a reaction in total. It's complementing the reaction or the joke or whatever by the shot. You know what I mean? That's what my camera does. It takes care of the groups and the carries and the whole thing. And then the A camera and X camera, those guys get entrances, tighter entrances on who's coming in the door. And then they may cut to me on a master. They may have a master to come in the door and then go right to the door for your first line, and then carry across and hold that until we need to get out of that shot, that kind of thing.
And then maybe let's talk about kind of the setup of maybe a 3-shot, a 2-shot. There's a beauty to framing, and it's subtle. Some of it is artistic eye, which you definitely have. And on your camera in particular, to touch on it, is you have 2 wheels, essentially. One goes side to side, one goes up and down, and it's a tilt and pan. And so it's such a fine thing to be able to move all those things in rhythm. Yeah. But it gives you the control, right? That's why it's not an automatic, because there's still a lot of moving pieces.
Right.
But framing of, say, 2 shots to 3 shots or singles.
A lot of times I'll have the master shot, a group shot at the couch or whatever, and John, who's next to me, who is also a color camera, he'll have a tighter version of that. You know what I mean? So I may have a head to toe, or I may have a cowboy, they call it, a little above the knees, right around in that area. And then John will be tighter. He'll be what we call wall to wall. In other words, you got a 3-shot, 3 people. And when we say wall to wall, it means that shoulder here and shoulder here on the outside people with a person in the center, that's wall to wall. So he'll have that. And then over on A camera or X, they may have a single out over here. Not a lot of times you're going to see a cross three from either side. They'll single out or do overs or cross twos.
Can I jump in for 1 second?
Yeah.
So when we say cross, for people who maybe don't know, if you shoot it from the side, from the A and the X, because of their angle, what you end up is kind of with this profile, like one face here, and maybe one face here, but you start to lose depth or placement.
Right.
And you can't really see as much of what's going on with the eyes.
Right.
It works a lot of times if this person is here and this person turns to them, because now you get more face recognition.
Exactly. Yeah. And that becomes a cross too.
Right.
That becomes a cross too. And, a lot of times, you've heard me say, we'll say, hey, Mike, can you open up for me a little bit? Meaning open this way or that way. It's a slight movement which comes with the acting. And you guys do a great job. You know what I mean? You make it look like it's real. You know what I mean? And that's what we're supposed to do. That's what's supposed to happen. And along the way, operators would say, hey, can you come do it like this? And what do you mean? What do you want me to stand like this? No.
Yeah. But there is this fine line as an actor, following directors and talking to camera operators my whole life. It's very natural for me as an actor to open or to clear, right? Where somebody's is here, right? And if I just shift over, you can see me and we have a shot that works for you and it works for me. And again, going back to teamwork.
That's right.
Production works. That's an area that most people don't cover. And it's something that I feel like often gets overlooked. It's not just stand there and deliver a line. It's you got to hit the mark. You got to deliver the line. You got to clear space sometimes. You got to be giving to your partner. You have to be respectful of the camera operator and continuity about holding things in the same place. All of these fine things are happening all at once.
Right.
And it's the beauty of how we collaborate as a group.
Organized confusion, you know what I mean? But organized confusion with respect. Respect. That's big time. Coming from an Italian family, actually I'm Sicilian on both sides, and my father instilled in us that that's first, have respect. And that's what we try to do in our business is have respect, We talk about these things here. You can't not bring this stuff home. Tickles the heck out of me. My wife will be watching something and she'll go, isn't he a little soft there? You know what I mean? Meaning out of focus.
Right.
A little soft. Or she'll say, well, look, they're stacked. Meaning stacked, if you want to explain it to the audience, if you have two people and let me see, like this is stacked. If two people are on the shot and there's a person behind you here, either the camera's got to move around where it opens it up like this, or the person has to open up. You know what I mean? And uncover, in other words, it's called uncover. I love those terms. We have uncover, and we have when you zoom out, you go blossom.
Yeah, and it's funny because I feel like in the old days, people came up in a studio system, right? If we go back to the history of this business, we've both been in it most of our lives.
Long time.
When you came up with a studio system, they taught you a lot of these things because it sped up production. As production has changed so much and spread out over all these companies, there's a lot of people who come up and what or what you learn, I find myself, particularly when I am on the directing side of things or the production side of things, when I'm trying to help other people, a lot of times I end up going over to actors and just quietly kind of giving them a crash course in blocking and clearing and finding your light, which was one of those things. In the old Roseanne show, we used to joke because Roseanne sometimes would struggle to find her light. So I would steer her into her light sometimes when I was giving her hugs.
Whoa!
and she was totally fine with it, right? But it was funny because, and you just kind of slide. It looks like a kid giving his mom a hug, which is a great thing. It's about making it realistic.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Once you know these things, and I hope from this show, when people watch television, watch movies, they'll see a little more of the art.
Right.
But unfortunately, they're also going to see sometimes they're going to be like, hey, wait a minute. That's when Vito talked about stacking.
That's right. Unstack.
Yeah, unstack. What are you doing?
Or the director will say, use the wheels on that thing, meaning move over or move this way.
Yeah.
Okay, sometimes you can't.
Right.
By the way, when you said help, that's you. Man, you tripped me out. I swear to God, you are. I know it's hard for you to take compliments. I already know. For me, giving is my favorite thing in the world. Getting gifts, I have a hard time with it. That's just me, though. And
me too.
I say thank you 1,000 times about the same freaking thing. It's like enough already. You know what I mean? Just say thank you. I'm getting better, Mike. I'm getting better. But,
I'm trying.
But you're there, man. I mean, I'll tell you something. I love the way you handle yourself, your charisma. You're so kind, and this is, I hope you start blushing. I hope so. Anyway, it's just that, you go around and you shake hands and you give everybody hugs. The hugs are going to change more recently now, but we'll see how that goes. But, you're always right there. You're always very kind and respectful, and you give of your time. You know what I mean? You make sure you go around and say hi to everybody and try not to leave anybody out. You say, how's your day? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Hey, man, you know how big time that is? That's big time,
I respect all of you. And for me, that's one of the things I want to make sure people know, that they're seen, they're heard, they're respected, and you all matter. You matter to me.
That's
and
right.
How you feel matters to me. When I ask you, how are you? It's not like, hey, how are you? And like, cruise on.
Keep moving. Right.
I really want to know, how are you? I want to be authentic on and off screen.
That's it.
Yeah. For me, the how matters. How we go about things, how I come to work, how I make sure the people that I work with know that I value their skill and their art. And I guess an extension, this show is that on another level, is trying to share how amazing all of you are.
Yeah, all of us.
Yeah,
and
it's
really kind of neat. It's really pretty neat. You know what I mean? In fact, I'll tell you something. When I first brought my wife down to wherever I was working in that, we left out of there and she goes, why do all you guys all hug each other? Like, and I go, do you have to do that? She said. I said, it's just something we do. You know what? I tell you, this is the only business that I know that this happens like this. Broadway, all kinds of stuff. You go into an office, and working every day in cubicles. I'm not taking anything away from that. There's not much hugging going on. You know what I mean?
No, I've done a lot of jobs. Nobody hugs each other on the construction site when I worked there. And when I worked in an office in a cubicle, rarely do people want to come in your cubicle, let alone come and enjoy and like hang out or shake your hand.
That's right.
Nobody wants to hug you.
No.
Usually they want to run from you at the end of the day. It's like,
that's right. That's right.
And this is different.
It is different. It's funny. I did see one of the shows that Jeremy was on the other day, and I never really thought about that in all these years, but he brought up that we're like carnies, and you know what? Freak, he's right. We are like carnies, It's a circus act, you know what I mean? And
we all show up, we put up the tent, we put up a show, and then we all get in the car together and we go to the next place, right?
I know. That's where all those clowns got that idea about coming out of the car, 1,000 of them at one time out of the Volkswagen.
Well, here's what I always tell people is we come from project to project and you don't always overlap the same way. It's why even in doing this, right, you can talk to multiple people who work in the same department.
Right.
But their jobs are a little different and a little more specialized, and they have different perspectives and different experiences. Right. And that's the beauty of this, is sharing each perspective, each vision of what we do. You guys are also special. It's just that it's really just true. It's simple in that way, but it's so complex of each one of you.
Yeah, thanks, Mike, and right back at you, man, and back at the cast too. This is a special show here, to be honest with you. I go from project to project, and a lot of times end up saying is well, folks, we're family here. I guess, come on, really, really, but it does fall into family. And like yourself, I love it. You bring your youngins in, and they hang out with you, man. How that is so great. That's so great, and they know what to do. They know what to do.
Yeah, they know where to stand and how to
that's right.
To be there and be present and learn, but not be in the way. It's an important thing for me. Is I loved growing up on a set. I thought it was an amazing experience. I think it can really be a great thing in your life. I think you will see and be exposed to things sooner, and maybe things that you may not or should not. But there's also great things, and there's not to say that that happens in everybody's life, one way or the other. That's
Right.
true in everything.
Right.
So I think it's what you take out of it. And for me, I always looked for all of the great things to take. So when I take my kids, and if they have a question afterwards, I don't know everything they're going to see every day. And I'm okay with that, because I don't know everything they're going to see when they go to school. I don't know everything they see when they go out in the world.
Right.
My job as a parent is hopefully to do a good enough job that when they have questions or something that made them uncomfortable, they'll come and ask me, as opposed to going someplace else and doing it.
True. Yeah, it's great. Well, how many times have you been on a set? Probably not many, because I tried not to make it many for me, that you pass by somebody 100 times in a day and don't know their name. It's because we're all busy, and we're going like this, like that all the time. It makes me nuts. I stop. I said, hey, listen, brother, what's your name, man? You know what I mean? Because I'm Vito, blah, blah, blah. What's your name? And, that means a lot to me, but it means more to them. It's
I'm on the lookout for new people.
Oh,
every
man.
day.
I had a guy.
New guy shows up. I want to know.
Oh, yeah. I had a guy who was just jobbing for the day. He was, I think he was special effects. He came in and he was back towards the craft service, because, special effects loves craft service. I got to tell you. I stopped in and asked him what his name was, and is he going to be with us tomorrow? As you always ask, kind of say, hey, you going to be with us tomorrow too? Because a lot of times when you job, you just come in for one day and you're out of there. You know what I mean? And he was elated that I stopped and asked him his name and welcomed him, because I did. I welcomed him to, hey, welcome, brother. You know what I mean? And he says, I don't get that. He says, I don't get that places. He says, cold as ice.
And that's a leadership thing too for me, is I always, especially as I build shows and I'm writing things and try to launch things, I want to start with the right mentality, and I want to engage people the right way. For me, it's a little disheartening and a little shocking at times, but I am also honored, is I'll walk away, I'll meet somebody, they come in, they're jobbing for the day or whatever else, they're day playing, and I'll hear them turn to somebody else and say, is he for real? or they go, he's not going to actually remember my name, is he? And I'm always like, yeah, my job is to remember your name. You matter. You're here. You're one of us.
Yeah.
From 1988, when I started in this business, I've kept every cast and crew list. I have kept track of names of people that I absolutely believe I should go to, and those are the people you lean on when you start something or when you're getting an opportunity. You go to the people that you know are talented, and you keep track of good people. Good people make good projects and become like family.
That's right.
And people who are committed make a better project. It makes, you do a cooking show. Which,
there it is.
I'm going to bring it up because I watched a bunch of it. I fell deep down the rabbit hole of Vito's Italian Cucina, and I was in love. It's like good ingredients, right?
That's right. That's right.
You want to get good ingredients. Good people are like good ingredients. If you want to have your recipe turn out, you got to know what you need.
Yeah.
And you got to follow steps, and each group, each ingredient's got to know when it's their time to shine and how they go together.
That's right. That's right. And on the thank you for the cooking show. By the way, while we're there, I came on your show. I would like to invite you to come on and cook with me on a show if you want.
I'd love to.
Oh boy, that would be great. We'll talk more about that.
Well, real quick, tell people a little bit about your cooking show, because I think it's special, and I love your energy. I love your passion, and again, on your channel, your family is involved.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Mike. It's these recipes are from my mother, my father, my uncles, my aunts. And I pulled it all together. Basically, it's their recipes. And of course, I've added along the way. This is coming up on 7 years. And I think right now I have like a little over 150 episodes. And I like to call it an entertainment cooking show. I have so much fun just doing the show. The food is the star. I could just have fun. I do goofy jokes that my wife just shakes her head. You know what I mean? And but I have a great time. You know, I have a great time. In fact, you know, I even teach some Italian across along the way. I'll say, you know, that garlic is called aglio in Italian and stuff like that. And by the way, you know, your last name translates. You know, a lot of things don't translate in different languages. But did you know your last name translates in Italian?
I love languages. So please give me the translation.
Pescatore. Yeah, that's how you say your name. It means fisherman.
Perfect.
Fishman.
Okay.
Yeah. So right now, from now on, you're going to be known as Mikey Pescatore from the neighborhood.
By all means, you give it to me that way.
So salud, brother. Salud.
I love it.
Paisan.
This is the joy of what happens behind the scenes. And it's the beauty of when you connect with people.
Right.
So the people who take themselves too seriously or are that cold person, you're missing the beauty of this business, because none of these jobs last forever.
No.
But your experience will last, and how you make those connections will last, and how they made you feel is real and authentic. And, you know, even how we're making someone who's watching this at home feel. Yeah. I hope that what they do is they laugh, they joke, they look at us.
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh, they're silly.
That's what I try to do. That's what I try. You know, honestly, it's like I love giving back. You know, I feel like the people have given me so much, and in order for me to hold on to what I have, I need to give that away. You know what I mean? And I'm a teacher. I love to teach. I love it. And it's like giving back is such a joy for me. And it's, I have people, you know, in other words, you can come up to me on a set or wherever and ask me anything you want to anytime. Well, not anytime. If I'm deep into what we're doing, you know, listen, we come to work because it's called work. We got to do the work. But I got to tell you something. I have so much fun at work. I laugh so much at work. You know what I mean? The younger people who come in, ask me anything, you know, and I love to teach them. Although, you know, with the cooking show now, you know, I have a lot more people coming up to me and asking me, could I have your meatball recipe? You know, or this or that. And it kind of tickles me a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I go, you actually watch the show? You know what I mean? I go, wow, thanks, man. Sure, I'll get that to you. But you
have to bring me on, and you're going to have to teach me something to cook. Oh, yeah. But I'm going to be stealing some of your recipes off of.
Oh no, you can't. The recipes are all there. They're in the details of the thing. They're all there.
Pick something that you've either always wanted to do, but takes a little more time. That somebody has to be patient with you, because I'll come hang out and take the time to really make something.
Okay, and I know you.
I enjoy your time.
You'll be over there washing pots and pans. I know you. Yeah. You know, see, that's another thing. I swear to God, I know that's you. And it's like, we're on the set, and, you know, like the guy that said, is that guy for real? Meaning talking about you, is that one of the first times when we getting to know each other is as you're over pulling cables and, you know, helping out and putting stuff over them. And then I'm going, Michael. I say to Mike, I said to the guys who do that, I said, get over there. You know what I mean? I said, Mike, don't worry about it. I don't want you get dirty, but you're in there. That just makes you happy.
It does make me happy. And
I know.
I've always believed if you see a problem and you can help, if you can make somebody else's life easier,
right,
then just do it. Right. Especially, you know, moving a cable, right?
Sure.
Okay, I might have to go wash my hands, but you know what? I helped make that transition smoother. I helped make something easier for somebody, and it makes that person lighter just for a moment. It was totally worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And in our group, I have to say, of the Connors, you know, it's we really, it is a team effort there. We help each other out on all kinds of stuff. So when I first started out, I remember I sat at a prop piano and I started playing, and this guy come in and screamed at me. I think I was on the job 4 days. I thought I was going to get fired because he says, I'm going to write up a grievance on you. You know, grievance is paperwork, and, you know, they're going to grieve.
It's a complaint. It's a complaint to the union, essentially, that you crossed over and that
right.
did or touched somebody else's stuff.
Please, come on. You know what I mean? And you know when you can do that and when you can't. In our family, we can do that, and it's no problem. In fact, I look out to use it as a joke as much as I can. Not every time. You know, somebody will help and go move teas at the table or something. I go, grievance. You know what I mean? Stuff just to mess with them a little bit. You know what I mean?
It is,
and it gets a chuckle sometimes. Sometimes
when you're close, you can joke about those things, right?
That's right.
When people take themselves too seriously,
please.
And then one of the problems that happens is someone will see something that is dangerous or a problem, and instead of fixing it, they have to go ask somebody because they're afraid of the consequences.
That's right. That's right.
Would you rather somebody gets hurt in that moment, or would you rather someone just takes care of it and we all get to keep working and move on with our day as if nothing happened because it didn't?
Right.
What is the best part of your job, Vito?
Wow. What's the best part of my job? Holy cats. Honestly, I'm very passionate about what I do. And the passion, it's pretty heavy. You know what I mean? I love what I do from the very first day that I started in June or July of 1967 to now. I feel the same way. I have so much gratitude, and I'm blessed. You know what I mean? And I get to share that blessing, you know. And in this business, there's people come and go and people pass. It makes me happy is my interaction with everybody. Respect, again, we go back to respect, and having fun and helping each other. And it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about everybody. What can I help you with?
How do we help each other? How do we collaborate to the best of our ability? How do we entertain this audience? How do we raise what we're doing so that we can connect with people at a higher level? The more I can tap into your gifts and your skills, and the more we can tap into my gifts and the next person's gifts, the project's going to be that much more special.
That's right.
Part of it is sharing with people. That I think that's part of my joy, is sharing the experience, but sharing the moment and watching other people's wonder or magic. I want to be there for as many magic moments in your life. I want to be there in a positive way for these moments you can't forget.
Yeah, that's good. Well, you do that, Mike. You know, you're very approachable, and you know what to do, and that's such a blessing. And I salute, Maron. Thank you for being that person.
I'm thankful for you every day.
Thanks, man. Thanks, brother.
Now, what is the hardest part of your job?
You know what? It's really weird. Is that I think the hardest part of my job is knowing that the show's going away for good, or we're going to go on hiatus and not see each other for a long time. And if you think I'm full of crap on that, I'm not. It's true that I kind of go, oh boy, I really like being here. You know, not that I want to.
I love it with you. I love it. I don't really want weeks off. I'm the one guy, every once in a while I'll take a week off here and there, but if we could work almost year round and you know, if we took a month off maybe for the holidays and then maybe a month off in the summer and the rest of the 10 months we were all together, it's a dream for me.
The hardest part is the real hardest part is walking away from a show and transitioning into something else. But this is what the business is. And I've there's been a tear or two along the way, you know, and I kind of go, oh boy, you know, this is, I don't like this part, but this is what we do. So that's the hardest part, I think.
What was the moment that you knew you wanted to work in the entertainment?
In St. Louis, there's it was a TV show called the St. Louis Hop. It was a dance program, sister show to American Bandstand. Okay. If you signed up, you might be able to get on the show at some point and go there with a date and dance and enjoy the music and maybe get to see a celebrity band or somebody that comes in town that they'll have on the show, that kind of thing, like Dick Clark did, you know what I mean? And so I went to the St. Louis Hop, a guy by the name of Russ Carter. He was the host. In fact, John Goodman is from St. Louis.
I know John is going to see that and love that.
Yeah,
he'll remember it.
I'll tell you that in a minute about me and John, okay? But so I went down to the show, and I walked in the studio, and the first time ever being on a set, on a stage like that, blah, blah, blah. And okay, so we did the show, walk out. So I walked out, and I'm at the bus stop, okay? I couldn't drive. I was too young, right? I was at the bus stop, and this guy walks by. By the way, his name is Ray Periandri, nice Italian kid. He says, "Hey, man, did you have a good time in there?" And I said, "Oh, I had a terrific time." He goes, "I didn't see you out there dancing too much." He says, "I saw you mostly looking up at the lights and all the equipment and eyeball and everything." And he says, "Do you like this stuff?" And I says, "Oh, this is unbelievable." I said, "I love it. I'd love to do this the rest of my life." He goes, "Well, I'll tell you what, why don't next week, if you're not doing anything, come on down, I'll get you in, and you can hang with me." I did that. It progressed. He put me under his wing. He let me come down to that show as many times as I ever wanted to come down to that show and just hang out. I got to know everybody, get a feel for what this does, what that does, and I knew right there, I got to do this. That was it. And let me see, I was just turned 16, I think.
Yeah, I kind of was the same way. I walked onto the set of Roseanne that first day in 1988 and looked around. It's one of my earliest memories, and it is etched in my brain.
Yeah.
Of the magic of what we get to do and how exciting it was, and everything. The lights, the equipment, the stage, every portion of it was magic to me, and that's never worn off.
Right. Well, it's great that you were in that space at that young age to be able to digest that. You know what I mean? And to take that in, and that's pretty neat, man. It's just like what you're doing right now, which is you're doing this show, and you got other things you want to do, and you get involved with the crew. You pick up the cables, you do this, you do that. I know that, but you know what? It's really neat is that Ron Howard. He started doing in the acting thing, but his eyeballs were behind the lens. That kid was always sitting on a camera, asking questions, hanging out, coming down there when he didn't need to be there. And that's really kind of what you're doing. It's a passion. You have it. It's in your heart. It's in your soul. It's in your soul, brother.
I come to production meetings at the beginning of the week, and nobody else does, but I do that because I want to know what the plan is and how they put everything together.
Thank you.
Ron Howard is a hero of mine in his transition, and I really admire so much of what he's done. And I remember listening to stories of people talk about him talking to Gary Marshall about kind of guiding and what was next, and looking beyond the camera and that kind of stuff. I love acting, but you can only play so many parts, and you're only a certain age one time. But as a director, as a writer, as a producer, you can do everything, and there is no time limit. Telling a good story is a good story.
Yeah.
I asked Gary Marshall questions regarding Ron Howard, and he said, do what you're doing now.
And I saw him at CBS Radford one day walking across the lot, and I said, that's it. I'm going to go meet him. So I did. God, was he gracious. Oh, my God. And
amazing.
Then, he says, Marshall's not my real last name. What a great guy, But, that's what Ron Howard did. And, when you talk about ageless in terms of this business, is like, look at Clint Eastwood. Not to say that he's still doing it, man.
I love it. I want to be that guy.
Right?
When somebody asks me, my dream is I have 20 shows, television shows, 20 movies I want to do in the next 40, 45 years. Yeah. So I don't plan on going anywhere for quite a while, and I got lots of things to show and say, and that's where I'm at now.
Right.
So ideas are only going to continue to go. So I love that.
Yeah. There's no cutoff, baby.
No
cutoff. Isn't that beautiful?
Dream, right? Keep your dream going and dream big.
Yeah. And guess what? If they put a kibosh on something, you start something else. People ask me about, so when are you going to retire? I go, it's not in my vocabulary. It really isn't, and
no.
Maybe I might not be on the set at Warner Brothers or 20th Century Fox doing a show or something, but I'll be doing my own stuff,
Yeah, I don't plan on ever retiring because this is what I love.
Yeah.
So there's no need to retire from it. It's just finding new avenues or new ways or new ways of doing it.
Oh, yeah, it's great. Anytime I teach somebody something, I said, the only thing I ask of you is to give it away. What I just talked to you about and what you digested just now and learned, your job at some point, give it away. Give it to somebody else.
Me too.
Right?
If I can give it to you earlier in life so that you can use it longer.
Oh, yeah.
Give it to somebody else sooner, all the better. That's what knowledge is for. You transition from, you're in St. Louis.
Yeah.
What brought you out to LA?
While I was at CBS as a stage manager, I'd come in at 4 o'clock in the morning and work till like 1:30 in the afternoon. And I found out that there was a job across town that they're looking for a director for a kids comedy hour, with Mr. Patches was the guy who was the host, and he ran around, had birthday parties and stuff like that. So I went and interviewed for the job, and God bless it, I got the job as a director over there. And I think I was 18 or 19 years old.
Wow.
I was like, what? Not only did you direct, but you also switched. You were like the technical director. In other words, a technical director is the guy that's sitting in the booth or somewhere that switches the cameras and dissolves and goes to commercial. So you did that job too. It was all inclusive. You know what I mean? So I did that for a while until I had to be replaced by one of the producers had one of his friends that needed a job. Okay, so what they did was they says, but you're losing this job, but we got a job in the film room, editing films, cutting films.
In the old days, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
What a complex job that was. Now, there's a million computer programs and you can do it in an instant. But in those days, you were cutting and reeling them together.
Reeling to reel.
And making sure they match perfect.
I made a couple errors along the way, and because I had to put commercials inside the films. They would run Gunsmoke or something like that, whatever, at the station. I put a Spanish commercial in. Nobody understood Spanish. I mean, I go, oh, well, I heard about that one. But so one time he pulled out this thing about Universal Studios, and he put the Universal Studios thing up. So I watched it. It was a 20-minute reel, something like that. And I said, wow. I said, wait a minute. I said, maybe I can go to California and work out there or something. Maybe I can do that. That was my aspiration at that point. Is I wanted to transition to come out here. Well, what happened was the draft was a Vietnam War was going on, and I got my number was called, and then I had the opportunity at that point either to get drafted or to join the National Guard, the Army. So I was able to get into the National Guard. My unit, it was a military police unit, and I was a cook, by the way. How you like that?
Okay.
And I was supposed to be cooking. We got activated, and we went all over the United States. In the midst of that, I met some guy in the Air Force, and I was able to actually get an honorable discharge from the National Guard Army and go over into the Air Force. So I went from greens to blues, and they put me in charge of running a TV station because I came from a little TV background. So I ran a TV station for the Air Force. And so after I got out, I came out to California. Finally got a job at KTTV, which was Channel 11 in Los Angeles. And they wound up doing housing all of the Norman Lear shows. And then I got hooked up with Norman Lear, and I got on camera. My first show there, the sitcom, was One Day at a Time. And then I went on to, all of his shows, Good Times, Moa.
You worked on the Jeffersons, right?
I sure did. Yeah. Now, Jeffersons. Yeah.
Now I heard you may have done more than one job on the Jeffersons. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it is. Actually, okay. It is. I was very fortunate and blessed to be able to have gone and pitched stories to the writers. I'm getting off track here, but I got to. Our show is not line, joke, line, joke. No, it's real stuff that happens. And what we do is we do some comedy relief in the middle of all life, life of the show,
And that's the best style.
My God.
There's lots of places, and people don't realize this, but you'll hear from certain people, well, how many jokes per page? Or how many, right? And you're like, if you're just trying to write a certain number of jokes per page,
right,
you're missing the point of the story and of life.
This show takes real life and puts it on its feet, and gives you some entertainment, some comedy, some teardroppers here or there. You know what I mean? Anyway, talking about writing, I pitched a few shows and got lucky, and I was able to put at least one episode up on its feet. They gave me the story and they gave me the script. Myself and my partner, Stu Goldman, we wrote it. And it was in the 10th season of the Jeffersons. I'm going, oh my God, I get to do this? I get to do this? Yeah. And I did. And it was, what an experience that was. a great experience. You know what I mean? And let me tell you something, a little side of this. Do you know I also shot that show? So they let me cross over. You know, that's a hard thing to do. And
it's really hard. It's really hard. There's a lot of places where
no,
it's real uncomfortable for people
no.
for you to do more than one job, and people kind of have, sometimes they really want you to be fit in a box or a category for
That's
people.
right.
So
That's right.
people have to be open-minded, and not everybody is.
Yeah, not everybody is. In fact, I got to tell you, my directing part that I was able to start is Damon Wayans and Don Rio from My Wife and Kids. I actually stepped off of camera, and they gave me the script, and we start shooting that day. We shot a portion of a show, but I knew I had the job. They gave me my first directing job there, and that's where I got into the DGA, was on My Wife and Kids. Going back to the Jeffersons and other shows, hey, listen, we'll do the writing, you do the shooting. You know what I mean? Now, I know you probably have some good ideas, but we got writers, you know, we know. But these guys were open. Hey, what do you got? You know what I mean? And they let me do that. And not only did I write that show, is I also shot that show. And but it was kind of miserable for me, to be honest with you, because here I'm shooting the show and I go, oh, I didn't want it to go that way. You know, I'm trying to shoot and concentrate on what I'm doing. I'm going, no. She's got to tap the couch when she says, come here, sit here. And I go, that's the joke. That's the joke. I go, did I make a mistake? No, but it was like, maybe I should have just stepped off to the side and just watched it. I got the opportunity and the gift to be able to do that, thank God. So that's pretty neat.
What is a moment from the shows you've worked on where you just couldn't wait to come home and tell your loved ones? Someone you worked with, a moment that you knew would resonate at home.
Well, I met Frank Sinatra. There you go. I met the Frank. I met the chairman of the board. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
And it was like, in fact, I was shooting something for Entertainment Tonight, and the producer says to me, "Now look," he says, "Frank Sinatra's over there. I don't want you going over there and getting too close." Again, I says, "Oh, no problem." Oh, come on, that's the first place I went. You know, I went right over there. I gotta meet Frank. This is my only chance, right? And I went over there. I was great. He was very gracious. I said hello. He got up. He says, "How you doing, kid?" And he puts his arm on my shoulder. He says, "Nice to meet you." I couldn't wait to get home. So, you know, I didn't. For God's sakes, I would have loved to have a picture, but iPhones weren't happening at that point. You know?
Right.
But it's up here. It's up here. And that was one of the moments.
All right, now, without using names, because we don't want to get anybody in trouble, what's one of the strangest things you've seen on set?
Oh, God. One of the strangest things I've seen on set. Yeah, I can't say any names, that's for sure.
Yeah, don't say names.
Yeah, no.
I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
There was an actress that flashed people. You know what I mean? And I didn't expect that. And neither did anybody else. But from what I understand, the dialogue along the way is that she loves to do that. It's just to get people's attention, you know, and throw them off. That would be it. I'm not saying who it is.
I spent a lot of time on other sets. I used to bounce when I worked on Roseanne. I used to go visit all these other sets because I want to see how everybody else worked.
Yeah.
The magic of what everybody else was doing.
Sure.
And there's times you walk in, you're like, I'm going to go ahead and go. I'll
be leaving now.
Yeah, like, okay. You walk in and there's a lot of stuff going on and you don't know what you walked into because something happened and you're like,
sure.
Today's not the day. I'll visit another day.
I'll grab an apple on the way out.
Yeah. I'm gonna walk past craft service and then I'm gonna check out of here. Like, I found my way in. I'll find my way out. No problem.
I know where the exit is.
Yeah. Of all these projects you've done,
is
there any project that you'd love to go back to, knowing what you know now, that you'd love to take those skills to or have another shot at?
You know what? I'm not sure if I would want to go back to something. I like what has happened in my career, and I enjoyed every moment of it, and I still do, obviously. But you know, I got my own stuff that I'm doing. You know, I do that cooking show, and that's fabulous. Creatively writing, I've done some stand-up comedy. The writing goes in context to that, and myself and my partner, Jimmy Velarde, that's my partner.
Okay.
Another Emmy award-winning camera operator also, but producer too. We got a show that we're getting up on its feet, and it's called the Drone Chronicles. And it has to do with, the website has to do with everything and anything about drones. But then there's a TV side of it that we've already shot some pilots, and it's we have a bloopers pilot, you know what I mean, about people who do drones, the kids and whatever, that things that happen. And then we have a general show, and then we have a Spanish show. This is something that drones are happening now. They use it for deliveries for medical deliveries, and then Amazon's doing their thing and all these places. But what we're doing is that's going to be like a magazine show with a couple hosts. So that's the next project's coming up. Going back to something right now, I like where I am right now. I like the fact that I'm moving forward and looking to the future of some new projects that I could personally be a bigger part of it, a bigger say in what I'd like to do, that kind of thing, creatively.
Everybody's so creative in our business. You've done music.
Yeah.
You've done all this technical work. You've directed, and you've been a camera operator. You've been associate director. You've worked in all these different departments, but you also did stand-up, and you went out on the road doing stand-up, and you still write some for other stand-ups.
Yeah, I do, Mike. I do. I do. Yeah, I did 12 years. I did 12 years straight in the 90s, basically. You're right in that arena. I was with George, George Wallace, the stand-up comic.
Yeah, I know.
I was with George a few weeks back. This time I had a chance to go up and talk to him about the time that I followed him at the Comedy Store. I've done the Comedy Store, the Ice House. I've traveled across the United States doing stand-up. I'm a middle. There's an opener.
Yep.
There's the guy who's the MC. Then there's the opener. Then there's the middle, and then there's the headliner. I was never a headliner. Those guys were doing an hour and a half. I had like 50 minutes, something like that. At any rate, here I am at the Comedy Store, and I went up after George Wallace, and that was a mistake. You know what I mean? I'll never forget that. Anyway, I conveyed that story to him, and he had a great laugh. Laugh. He says, well, you still doing stand-up? And I says, well, I've thought about it. He says, why don't you come follow me now? You know what I mean? I said, no, George. But I've had the opportunity to do that. But see, I use that in a lot of areas in my life, because I'll have a joke here or there that I can lay out. Mine was a clean act, by the way. I did clean. That's
the hardest.
Yeah, it's
and
hard.
People don't realize how hard it is to be clean.
Yeah.
And it's a really beautiful thing. The one thing I'll say about it is it's empowering, because a lot of times you can get away with things for shock and awe or whatever, but to work clean, just like I always, the little bit I did, I worked sober, which I thought most people do, but most people don't. And I always laughed because I was like, you're going to do what before you go and get up on stage? And I was like, I like the challenge. I like to remember and to think about, okay, well, this worked good. It's also fascinating for people who have never been up doing stand-up. You can have good material.
Right.
And sometimes a room doesn't fit your dynamic, or just doesn't feel your rhythm, or maybe your rhythm's a little off one night. That's one of those things, like, if you have a bad night, get back up and try to get back up soon.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't have time to build it in your head.
Right. Get back up on the horse. I got to tell you something about that, is that when you're having a bad night, okay, the fun part that you do get out of that, because you do, although it is a terrible night and you want to get the hell out of there, you'll hear the other comics that are going to be coming up in the back laughing their ass off.
Yes.
Because, they're not laughing at you, they're laughing kind of with you.
And the situation.
There's a situation.
Yeah.
And that, what, honestly, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. You say, oh my God, he died on that one. You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Well, you come backstage, and there's always somebody who will go, well, how do you feel? Right. And exactly, everybody knows how you feel. And you joke with each other like, okay, so that wasn't the one.
Oh, yeah.
And usually somebody will turn to you and say, I loved this joke.
Yeah.
Or this is great. Don't lose it. Right. Right. And people are usually pretty good about it. Yeah. And if you take it that way, it works fine.
It does. It's like, I actually like when they help you out on the joke. Hey, what if you tried this instead? What if you said this instead?
Those
or maybe
are great
a different inflection or an eyeball, or something like that. Yeah, it's pretty neat. But anyway, I did that too, and it's I use it today. Everything becomes a part of my life. You know what I mean? And I like to share that. I love a good laugh. I love to see other people laugh.
It's one of my all-time favorite things is to make someone. I love when you make people laugh in a way they can't control. Because I think people have two laughs that they don't like to share with the world. They have kind of that. They have the ugly laugh when they can't control themselves.
Yeah.
And they have the laugh where they forget themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can get to those two, that's where the real magic is for me.
Right. It's great. I've had laughs that my stomach hurts so bad. It's hurting. So my eyeballs they're watering. I'm crying. My stomach is killing me. And that's happened quite a few times in my life, and I remember those moments. Those are beautiful moments, actually.
Ready for the big run?
Oh no! What run?
These are the tough questions.
I just started walking.
I got the tough questions for you now.
All right, let's go, man. Let's go.
Okay, Vito, what's the first thing you look for on a call sheet?
Okay, first thing I look at on a call sheet. Usually, I get the call sheet a day before the job. I have to be there for the next morning. I look for when's lunch and my out time. No, I'm just kidding. No, actually, I look for my in time. That's the very first thing. I'm like, you know what? I don't like being late at all. I give myself such a leeway with the traffic in Los Angeles when we're really in it. I get there early. Hey, I'll relax and say hello to people. I'll have a coffee, just relax. I want to know my in time. That's the first thing that I look at. And then I look at the who's on the crew list, friends that I've worked with in the past who may be joining us that day that I haven't seen in such a long time. And that goes with technical directors, ADs, actors, all friends of mine that I consider friends of mine. And that is exciting to see that come back around. And that's what happens in this business too. We may not see, honestly, for 20 years. In fact, my first assistant, Steve Lund, on my camera, who does the focus and the zooming, we hadn't seen each other for 20 years. 20 years.
Before you came back to this project?
That's right. That's right. On the reboot.
And it's a beautiful thing because you guys are so smooth together.
Unbelievable.
You would never believe that it's been that long.
Unbelievable, isn't it? See, so, in this business, this is what can happen for us.
All right. Now, what's the last thing you want to see on a call sheet?
Well, the last thing I want to see on a call sheet is not seeing my name on it. How's that? You know what I mean? I want my name to be on there. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. I totally get that.
Yeah.
What's the thing you want to see at craft service?
Mike. Come on, Mike. Spaghetti and meatballs. What are you kidding me? Was that any question?
That classic, right?
Well, honestly, you get sick of spaghetti and meatballs, that's for sure. But you know what? Like the guys who take care of craft service, Chance and John back there. God, are those guys fabulous or what?
They're amazing.
It's constant. It's foods of many lands all the time, all day. Unbelievable. Those are terrific. Yeah.
Okay, now what's the thing you hate to see at craft services?
A scale.
Good line.
That's it.
Good line.
Scale,
well
please.
played, Vito.
And if I see a scale, I'm going to go to Jeremy and say, get rid of that.
Yeah, get rid of that thing. All right, Vito, how do you define success?
Boy, Mike, I did have an idea of some of these things, but then you start thinking about it, I go, oh my God, how do I? Well, honestly, I define a success, truthfully, on a daily basis. I got to do my very best all the time. If I can do that and walk out of there and feel great about what I contributed to the show, that's success to me. That is success. I'm a perfectionist. I really am. And that drives me nuts. And I don't know about other people, but
me too.
It makes me nuts.
To do everything right.
That's right.
Can be obsessive and weight bearing on you.
Oh, it is weight bearing. Honestly, I try to not let perfection get in the way of my best efforts. I'll be honest with you with that. It's like I'm going to try my very best. Will you give 100%? No, let's take that up. It's got to go higher. But if I can walk away, if I got to tell you, this is how I am. All the other operators and all the other other people that were, if there's something a little bitty small little freaking thing goes wrong with something, and it's and it works on you, you will drive home and make yourself nuts, beating yourself up all the way. Then you'll bring it home. And then what happens, then your wife has to hear it. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, please, let it go. But yeah, I'm pretty hard on myself. I don't know. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did. How do you measure up to that definition of success? Most days, I think you're doing good.
Yeah. Okay. So is this another question you just asked me?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah.
How do I measure up?
Yeah, how do you feel like you're measuring to that definition of success? As a perfectionist, maybe we should shift this, because I think you're bringing up a really valuable point that I think, how do you learn to forgive yourself or to move forward as the perfectionist when there is that moment that didn't go the way you want, because you want it to all be perfect, because you love what you do so much?
Wow. That is so difficult. That's difficult. It's difficult. That's difficult for me to even answer right now, because I am hard on myself about things. It really reflects back to what we talked about earlier. Giving is what I love.
Yeah.
Getting, as I have a hard time with. So how many times do I say thank you for that? Oh, hey, by the way, hey, thanks for that. Hey, thanks for that. And this is about the same thank you that goes along with whatever happened, the scenario. That goes with this. Is that I gotta just say, mistakes happen. Nobody got hurt. It's not brain surgery, really. You know what I mean? And it's not life or death. How do you react when somebody else makes a mistake? You know what I mean? And I kind of look at that.
Super forgiving. You're super forgiving.
That's what I do. That's
the thing is, we're not as forgiving with us.
No.
And I'll tell you, the one for me as an actor, on the production side, it's a little easier sometimes for me. On the acting side, if I don't get another take, that's the one that drives me nuts. Or if I get a note that asks me to make a choice that I don't believe fits what's going on,
right?
That one's really hard. Or to be completely honest, there have been times recently where I get a note where I'm told don't be funny, or when I know the coverage or the way I'm being told is basically them saying we're going to cut this anyway, which is like,
wow.
Right? I want to give you the best I got, right?
Yeah, well, this business is a rejection business. You know what I mean? Yeah. Come on. It's like, woo, you got to be calloused. I got to let it go. And I give that stuff over to my higher power, to be honest with you.
I agree. And
spiritually, that's where I go.
With maturity and perspective, that becomes easier.
Yeah.
At least to me. And this is why I want to share amazing people.
Right on, man.
And that's why you're in that group I'm starting with.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. See, I said it 2 times or 3 times. I said it.
Okay. What's the one thing you want on every set?
Harmony. I want harmony, man. I really want harmony. I want, and this may sound whatever, but I want love, brother. There's a love there. You know what I mean? So wait a minute. I just saw you yesterday. Do I have to hug you again? Yeah, I have to. You know what I mean? Or I have to come up just to talk to you for a minute.
I don't have to. I want to. I look forward to that moment, right?
Oh, yeah, man. Isn't it great?
When we do a show every Friday, I never take one of those shows for granted.
No.
I come up to you before each show and tell you to have a good show, because I legitimately want that. I want that night to be a joy. I want you to leave and drive home and go, we did great work.
Yeah.
I feel good about what we just did.
Exactly.
And you matter. I'm telling you specifically, Vito, have a great show.
Yeah, I get it. Thank you, Mike. Right back at you. Same thing. Yeah. Yeah. Harmony, love, respect. There it is again.
So what is the one thing that you would eliminate from a set if you could?
Well, it happens with stress. It becomes woven in sometimes. It's out of your control. You know what I mean? And when you can hear a pin drop and you want to get through those moments are so awkward to me. You know what I mean? Yes. And you know what? They're not foreign, but they are. It's like
they always remain foreign. I think we're very similar in this way. I don't
like being there.
I don't ever want to get comfortable with it. It
No,
comes
no, no,
back
no.
to it comes back to that thing where people say, you know, I wish I could understand. There's oftentimes when I start that sentence, I go, I wish I could understand. Then I go, you know what? No, I'm glad I don't understand
Right.
that thought process or that way of being, because I don't want to be that person.
Right. I don't want to be that person. No, 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 no. I don't want to be in the negative. I want to be in the positive. Let me find some assets about that liability. You know what I mean? And move it over and move it over.
Agreed.
And I try to go there. That's what I try to do.
Now, what's the best gift you've gotten from working on a project?
Oh gosh, the best. These are difficult questions, Mike. Anyway.
Sorry, I ask tough questions because I really want to know. Actually, these are the things I really want to know from people. And I know they're big and I know they're deep, and I know it's a lot. I'm fascinated by it.
You mean projects as a whole or as a career?
However you want to define it.
I
don't define it because that tells me something too. I love to watch what people come up with.
Yeah, well, it really is that I have gratitude, and I know that I'm blessed to be able to be a part of this particular workforce that's happening, and that I've been invited to be there, you know, and that they trust me with what I can bring to the table. They trust me that I'm not a jerk, you know, and that I'm not going to put my crap on you. And that that the best gift I get is being able to be a part of. That's it.
Me too. I love that.
Right on,
That's
man.
a great answer.
Thanks.
Even bigger one. How do you want those people who worked with you to remember you, Vito?
As a guy that you could come to with anything and talk to me about anything, if you want me to tell me something that you don't want everybody to know about, that's me too. Genuinely a happy guy all the time. And I have my best, my soul. I want to share my life in terms of enjoyment, being comfortable around me, having fun, a good laugh, serious moments, compassionate person, a loving person. I view myself as that, and that's how I'd like to, and that I'm a professional in what I do, and no matter what position I'm in, I handle it professionally all the way, and I'm well prepared, pretty much well prepared on anything I go into. I guess that's it.
All right. What's the legacy you want your loved ones to take from your life?
Okay, the legacy would be that I'm a good husband, father, grandfather, uncle, cousin, friend, somebody you can always count on and feel secure. I always will have, no matter what is going on in their lives, my arms are always open to accept you in, and to know that I'm not going to be like this. You know, I'm going to be open no matter what, because whatever's going on in your life, that I can be a part of and help you along. I want to do that. Now, yeah, I want them to remember me as that, and a good provider. Yeah, that too. And spiritual person.
Vito, this was beautiful. And I have to thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of your knowledge, your wisdom, the complexities and details of what you do as a camera operator, but how much more there is to you, and for bringing the love every single day, and for bringing the love to the call sheet today.
Hey, thanks, Michael. And as my father would say to me and say to his friends and loved ones, "Asa benediga, Michael." That means God bless you, Michael. I love you, man. I love you. Thanks for having me.
If you'd like to be updated on Fish's call sheet, go ahead and subscribe or hit the bell below so you know right when we update new information.